things. First thing I want to do is I want to get to know about everyone here. How many people here are eating a raw food diet? All right, all right. See, the people that heard me before know where this is going. How many people here are eating a vegan diet?
Yeah.
Okay. How many people here are lacto-vegetarians? That means you're not a vegan, but you eat animal. You don't eat animals, but you eat things that come from animals. Like a fake vegetarian. Okay, great. All right. Okay. How many people here don't want to raise your hand? Raise your hand. All right. How many of you really don't want to be here? You just got dragged by somebody else. Okay, good. Okay. How many of you just came from McDonald's? I just did. I probably visit more McDonald's than anyone else here. Because when you travel as much as I do and you need a bathroom, McDonald's is a great place. The reason why it's so great is because they never kick you out and the bathroom's always available. The reason why the bathroom's always available is because everyone's eating that food is constipated, so they're not using the bathroom. It's like brand new. But when I go to McDonald's, what I notice is quite confusing. I see people online about to eat some of the worst food on the planet, and they're happy. They're all happy, waiting for their happy meal, and I understand that myself because I did that for a long time. But what really confuses me is when I go to a health food store. I see people online about to eat some of the best food on the planet, and they don't look that happy. Sometimes they're miserable. And I'm like, why is this? And then I finally figured it out. I first thought maybe they really need the bathroom and it's not available. But then I finally figured out, and the answer was that health and happiness is more than just diet alone. It's not only about food. There's many other factors. I don't care how well you eat. If you're going to a job every day you don't like, and if you're not doing it for the right reasons, and if you're not getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, and doing all these things, you're not going to be as healthy as you can be. So we have to understand there's many different factors that determine our overall health, and diet is one of them. But I know a lot of people that eat a raw food diet that are not healthy. And I know a lot of people that eat a raw food diet that are healthy. So we have to see, well, what are those other things, and we're going to talk about those. What we're going to talk about tonight is my new book of The Formula for Health, which I have a video and, thank you. I have a video and book. It's a 2-hour DVD and a book as well. It's called The Formula for Health, and we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, I want to just go over my background a little for the people that don't know me and haven't heard me before. I'm from New York, if you couldn't guess that. Is there anyone here from New York? Great, we have a bunch of translators if you don't understand me. Very good. Well, so, when I grew up, I wasn't really looking to change my diet. I ate a diet worse than anyone I've ever met. But I was so fit and into health that it didn't bother me. I was so much into working out in the gym. I was what we would call a gym rat. 3 days a week I would go and work out at the gym. 3 days a week I would box. And I felt great, even though I ate a terrible diet. And the reason why I felt great is because I was young. When you're young, you can eat just about anything and feel amazing. But what you do when you're older will catch up to you when you become older. And then at 19, I got diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease, which is also known as ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. It's inflammation of the colon. I went to the doctors. The doctors told me that there was no known medical cure. The only choice they gave me, other than cutting out my colon, was to go on drugs. They told me at 20 years old that I was a high risk for colon cancer, but they said, don't worry, they have a cure for colon cancer. I said, you don't have a cure for inflammatory bowel disease, but you have a cure for colon cancer? They said, yeah, if we cut out your colon, you can't get colon cancer. And so I said, give me the drugs. And they gave me the drugs, and my condition wasn't getting better. As a matter of fact, the drugs just created many side effects. It was getting worse, and everything my doctor told me to do, I did, and I got worse. So then I thought, maybe this isn't a good doctor, so I went to other doctors. And I did everything they told me to do, and I wasn't getting better, I was getting worse. So then I got wise, and I started doing the opposite of what the doctors told me, and I got better. Are there any doctors here, by the way? Now, some doctors are wonderful. Emergency room doctors, case of spinal cord injury, these doctors are wonderful. But if we're going to put something in our body to create an illness, the answer isn't taking some drug to deal with the pain. The answer is to eliminate what caused the problem. Health doesn't begin with what we add to our diet, it's what we eliminate. And I said that in 2 ways. Number one, what we eliminate by what we don't do anymore. And number two, by what we eliminate, because what we take it in is supposed to come out. So that's where health begins. It's not what we add to our diet, it's what we eliminate. And health in a whole, it's not where we begin, it's what we eliminate in everything, not just food. The things that are causing the problem, if you get rid of the problem begins to go away. Well, after knowing that, I went on a vegan diet. And I didn't know any better at the time, and I fell for the same trick that many people fall for today. It was a junk food vegan diet. You know, health tip number one for Paul tonight, if you're taking notes. If you have cookies And then you have organic cookies. They're still cookies. We have to understand this. Just because they say organic on the package is not the best for you. Here's the simplest health rule out there. If it's in a bag, a box, a can, a container, or a bottle, it's not good for the body, especially if it doesn't have an expiration date. If it has an expiration date, you can take it and get away with it, but that doesn't mean it's ideal. The ideal things for the body are things that come, and the only wrapper should be the skin from nature that our Creator put on there. And we need to understand that. Now, if you see me eating something from a bag, a bottle, a can, or a container, don't call the raw police on me. You don't have to be 100% raw to be healthy, but what you have to do is you have to use wisdom when you're doing these things. There are a lot of things being promoted in a raw food lifestyle today that really are not healthy, and people are being deceived. For one thing, I'll tell you, this cracked cow, this raw chocolate is one of the worst things you can put in your body. But people are taking it and they're told it's okay, but it's not good. It's just so toxic, and it's just one of the examples as people are being misled and just going astray. So what I found by doing these lectures and so on is there's 3 reasons people usually get into wanting to learn more about health and so on. The first reason is, and the reasons aren't anything to do with food. Reason number 1 is if somebody is sick, if somebody has a disease, how do they get well again? That's the number 1 motivating reason somebody will come to look towards health. The number 2 motivating reason is if somebody doesn't have a disease, how do they avoid getting one? And the number 3 motivating reason is if somebody wants to look young, that's why they'll eat a healthier diet. These are the 3 main reasons, and if they could be convinced that diet has something to do with it, then they'll do it. But the majority of people today are being deceived that diet has nothing to do with this. How do I know? Because when I go to McDonald's and all these other places, I still see a lot of people there eating. And they want to accomplish these goals, but they don't know that diet is a connection. They're trying to look for a fast way around it. Well, we know here that diet has everything to do with that. And we know if we change our diets, it can help us accomplish those goals. So what I did is I went down, I left New York City, and I wanted to get better, and I went down to a more stressless environment. I moved down to West Palm Beach, Florida. I moved right next to a place called the Hippocrates Health Institute. And when I moved to Hippocrates Health Institute, I didn't know what it was or where it was until I went there, and then I learned about the raw food diet and lifestyle. And I called my doctor up in New York City to see if this would be good for me, and she told me no, so I knew I was on the right path. So I started eating the raw food diet, and I got well again. And people ask me what was one of the keys to my success story in getting well. Well, I told you, eliminate the things causing a problem. After I cleaned up my diet, I realized somebody told me stress had a lot to do with my condition. And when I asked my doctor if there was any connection between stress and my condition, she said no, so I knew I had to reduce the stress. Well, the first step I took to reduce the stress was I eliminated my doctor. Right away I felt better. Now let me clarify something, because I am from New York. I didn't eliminate my doctor, I just stopped going to visit her. I just want to clarify that. So then I decided, I went to Florida and I started eating a raw food diet and everything else, and it worked. It works. Eating a healthy diet works, but it's not the raw food that healed me, because I know a lot of people eating raw food and they're not doing too well. There's so many factors, but what I have found that I'm going to talk about tonight, what really heals us.